Hello everyone, in the previous class we learned about primary structure of monocot root and dicot root. In this session I will start another topic, that is primary structure of dicot stem. In transfer section of a dicot stem shows mainly three parts. Here I am taking example for the transfer section of dicot stem is Helianthus annuus. Helianthus annuus, that is sunflower. I am taking example sunflower for the transfer section of dicot stem. The transfer section of dicot stem, that is sunflower, showing mainly three parts. They are: number one, epidermis. First part is epidermis, and second part is cortex, and third part is stem. These three parts are present in the transfer section of Helianthus annuus plant, that is dicot stem. This is ground plan of a dicot stem, and this one is sector plan, that means enlarged part of the ground plan. All the parts are clearly visible in this sector plan. Coming to first one, epidermis. Epidermis is the outermost layer. This is epidermis. This epidermis is outermost layer. I am writing here, it is outermost layer, and which comprise single row of cells. All the cells are rectangular in shape. Cells are rectangular. Rectangular cells are present in the epidermis, and they are closely arranged without intercellular spaces. There are no spaces between the cells, and their outer walls are cutinized. Outer walls are cutinized. Cutinized. Compared to their inner walls, outer walls are thickened because cutin is deposited on their outer walls. Next, outer to the epidermis, there is a waxy layer. There is a waxy layer. That waxy layer is called cuticle. That means cuticle is a waxy layer which is present outer to the epidermis. This is cuticle. Next, at some areas, stomata are also present in the epidermis. Some areas, this epidermis is interrupted by stomata, and these stomata are useful in gaseous exchange. Okay. Next, some of the epidermal cells gives rise to uniseriate or biseriate hair-like structures. Those hair-like structures are called trichomes. They produce hair-like structures or hair-like outgrowths. These outgrowths are called trichomes. Outgrowths, and these outgrowths are called trichomes. These trichomes check the transpiration, that means they prevent the loss of water from the plant body or from the stem. Along with that, these trichomes prevent the entry of pathogenic microorganisms. This is the function of trichomes. And epidermis gives protection to the inner parts of the plant body. Stomata helps in transpiration. Along with that, it helps in gaseous exchange. Trichomes helpful in prevention of loss of water. You understand? Next, coming to next part, that is cortex. Second zone is cortex. Cortex. The tissue which extends between epidermis and the stele is known as cortex. This cortex is again differentiated into subzones. They are: number one, hypodermis. Hypodermis, and second zone is general cortex. General cortex, and third zone of the cortex is endodermis. Endodermis. These three zones are present in the cortex. Coming to first one, hypodermis. Hypodermis, where it is present? Hypodermis is present below the epidermis. Present below the epidermis. It is composed of 3 to 6 rows of cells. 3 to 6 rows of cells, and all the cells are collenchymatous. Cells are collenchymatous, and these cells are arranged compactly without intercellular spaces. There are no spaces between the cells, and their corners are highly thickened. Corners highly thickened, highly thickened, and this hypodermis provides elasticity to the stem, to stem. Are you understand? Once again I am repeating, hypodermis is composed of 3 to 6 rows of cells, and they are closely arranged without intercellular spaces, and these hypodermal cells are collenchymatous in nature, and their corners are highly thickened. These are the corners, and these corners are highly thickened, and which provides elasticity to the stem. Along with that, they also contain dense cytoplasm and chloroplast. Due to the presence of these chloroplasts, they perform photosynthesis, and they are involved in assimilatory function. Are you understand? Next, general cortex. This general cortex is present between the hypodermis and endodermis. The tissue which is present between hypodermis and endodermis is called general cortex. This general cortex composed of 5 to 10 rows of cells. 5 to 10 rows of cells, and they are parenchymatous in nature. They are parenchymatous, and they are living cells. Parenchymatous and living cells. Next, cells are thin walled. They are thin walled, and they shows intercellular spaces. Intercellular spaces. Are you understand? Once again I am repeating, general cortex composed of 5 to 10 rows of cells, and parenchymatous in nature. Cells are living, and they contain thin walled cells. Intercellular spaces may or may not be present. In some plants, intercellular spaces are absent, and in some dicot plants, intercellular spaces are present. And the outer rows of the general cortex composed of chloroplast, so that it is involved in storage of food materials. Inner rows of general cortex composed of leucoplast, so that it is involved in storage of food materials. The main function of general cortex is assimilatory function and storage of food materials. This is about general cortex. Next one, endodermis. Endodermis is the innermost layer of the cortex. It is innermost layer of cortex. It composed of barrel-shaped cells. These are the barrel-shaped cells. Their radial and inner walls are wrapped with lignin and suberin, and they form bands. They are called Casparian bands. These Casparian bands are present in the endodermal cells. Along with that, these endodermal cells contain starch grains. These are the starch grains. So that this endodermis is also called starch sheath. Are you understand? This is about general cortex. Next, coming to third part, that is stele. Stele is the central conducting cylinder, and it occupies major part in the stem. This stele composed of mainly 4 types of tissues. They are, number 1, pericycle. First one is pericycle, and second type of tissue is vascular bundles, and third type of tissue is medulla, and fourth type of tissue is medullary rays. Medullary rays. These four types of tissues are present in the steel. Coming to first one, pericycle. Pericycle. This pericycle is the outermost layer. Here, this is the pericycle, and this pericycle is the outermost layer. This pericycle composed of 3 to 10 rows of cells. 3 to 10 rows of cells, and this pericycle is present below the endodermis, and it is outermost layer. And sclerenchymatous cells are present. Sclerenchymatous cells are present in the pericycle, and cells are compactly arranged without intercellular spaces. In Helianthus annuus, that is sunflower, in the sunflower, pericycle is in the form of discontinuous ring. That means that appear like patches. Patches of pericycle is present in sunflower. In cucurbita and Aristolochia, in cucurbita and Aristolochia, this pericycle is in the form of continuous ring that forms a continuous sclerenchyma below the endodermis. Okay. Next, this pericycle provides mechanical strength to the stem. Are you understand? Next, coming to second type of tissue, that is vascular bundles. Vascular bundles are wedge shaped or top shaped. They are wedge or top shaped. Top shaped vascular bundles. Vascular bundles are 5 to 20 in number, and they are arranged in the form of a ring, so that the steel is called U steel. The steel is called U steel. Xylem comprises xylem vessels, xylem parenchyma, and xylem fibers, and phloem comprises sieve tubes, companion cells, and parenchyma. In the vascular bundle, this xylem and phloem are arranged on the same radius. They are arranged on same radius. Xylem and phloem arranged on same line or same radius. Are you understand? And both are joined. Xylem and phloem both were joined. In between the xylem and phloem, there is a meristematic layer. That meristematic layer is called fascicular cambium. Fascicular cambium. This fascicular cambium useful in the secondary growth, that forms secondary xylem and secondary phloem. In this, the xylem elements are present towards the inner side, and phloem elements are present towards the outer side. That's why these vascular bundles are called conjoint, collateral, open, and endark vascular bundles. Endark vascular bundles. Once again I am repeating. Conjoint, both the xylem and phloem are combined together to form a bundle. Collateral, they are arranged side by side. They are present, they occur side by side. Open, that means there is a cambium present between the phloem and xylem, so that the vascular bundle is called open vascular bundles. And endark means protoxylem elements are present towards the inner side, and metaxylem elements are present towards the outer side, so that the vascular bundle is called endark vascular bundle. And these vascular bundles are useful in transportation of water, mineral salts, and food materials. I understand. This is the function of vascular bundles. Next, coming to medulla. The larger part of the steel is occupied with medulla. This medulla comprising thin-walled parenchymatous cells that contain thin-walled parenchymatous cells. Parenchyma cells, and cells are loosely arranged with intercellular spaces. The main function of medulla is to store food materials. To store food materials. Are you understand? Next, medullary rays. The parenchyma tissue which extends between the vascular bundles. This is the medullary ray which is present between two vascular bundles. Two vascular bundles, and the cells are radially elongated and which forms a connection between cortex and medulla, and they helpful in radial conduction. That means they helpful in lateral conduction of water and mineral salts. This is about the transfer section of primary dicot stem. In the next class I will come with another topic. Thank you.